with a better understanding of equivalent statements, we're going to come back to those variations in the conditional we talked about earlier where I misspoke when I mentioned one of them. We're going to clean that up a little bit here. So if we have a conditional of form if P then Q, P implies Q that is, then we can make the converse of that, which is if Q then P, along with the inverse of that, which says if not P then not Q. That's the one I misspoke about. And then finally we have the contrapositive if not Q, then not P, or not Q implies not P. And even though we list that one third, it's actually kind of the most important one, because as we said earlier, as we saw with that Grammys example, that one is the only one there that is going to be equivalent to our original statement, even though it's a bit odd in how it ends up being phrased most of the time. So let's say, for example, we have the two simple statements, I live in Fort Myers and I live in Florida, where that can form the conditional, if I live in Fort Myers, then I live in Florida. That is a true statement because Fort Myers happens to be in Florida. Unless there's another Fort Myers that's not there that I'm not aware of, it's certainly possible. It's not the very rarest name in existence. But we could just as easily say, if I do not live in Florida, then I do not live in Fort Myers. Again, that makes the assumption that Fort Myers is a unique place to Florida. I'm not positive it is, but assuming the first one is true, then that one is also true for the same reason. If you're not in Florida, then you're probably not in Fort Myers, although there's a whole host of other places you could be that is both in Florida and not Fort Myers, and not Florida and not Fort Myers.
South America, take it away!
Which gets to the ideas of why the inverse and converse don't quite have that same meaning. That if we take the converse of that statement, we'd have something more like, if I live in Florida, then I live in Fort Myers, which, no, like I said, there's plenty of places you could be elsewhere. And then if I don't live in Fort Myers, then I don't live in Florida. Again, lots of places to be in Florida that are not Fort Myers. So these two here are a lot closer to being equivalent. And in fact, they are equivalent because, in a kind of silly way, the contrapositive of the converse is the inverse. But that's a bit headier than where we need to be here in terms of thinking about life in Florida and how these things fit together. So let's take another example here, working with something a little bit less geographic.